Hello again. I know that I said I was going to try to do a video every week, but I forgot last week was Father's Day, and I shot this video last week, but I wasn't too happy with the end result, and then things just got busy. I wasn't able to reshoot it and upload. And actually, I went to a Yankees game yesterday. You can see it says the date from yesterday on my shirt. I'm going to post this today, hopefully. It was Old Timers Day, my first Yankee game in 12 years. Or, no, sorry. Yeah, 12 years. First Yankee game in 12 years. They lost, but it was still fun. But that's beside the point. But I want to do a review of the lightsaber that I got 12 years ago, actually. So it's sort of cool that I'm reviewing something that I got 12 years ago, and then I'm wearing a shirt from something that I was at 12 years ago. Obviously I was there yesterday, but the last time I was there was 12 years ago. So, enough of a digression. I want to do a review of my Darth Vader lightsaber. I did sort of do a review of it when I did a side-by-side comparison of the Ultra Saber when I first got the Ultra Saber, but I wanted to just sort of do a review of this. Like I said, this thing is 12 years old, and it definitely shows. The biggest indicator of that is the fact that the grip section here has a big chunk missing out of it. This thing also has all sorts of dings in it. You can hardly see the lettering, and actually it might not even show up at all on camera. You can kind of see it. Yeah, you can hardly see the lettering on the pommel here. Like I said, there's all sorts of scratches and dings, and this thing is beat to hell. It's my most well-loved prop, probably, but it's my most well-loved saber. I actually have an entire collection of props that I might do reviews on at some point. But with that out of the way, I do really like all the detailing and stuff on this. I have had to make some modifications. I actually lost the pin that's supposed to hold this little nub in place. So there's some like wiring in there, just some hard like metal wiring. I will get a pin eventually and just pop that in there, but for now it doesn't look bad. Also, the little wires that are supposed to go in these sections here on the saber, I have them. They're actually sitting on my coffee table, but I have them off because for the sake of being able to throw this thing around and spin it and do all sorts of fighting with it. It helps to just have sort of a clean grip up there. And also, I kind of like the aesthetics of having no wires on it rather than having them on there. So every now and then when I display it, I do just put them on there. I don't even glue them on because it's just sitting on my shelf, so I don't really have to worry about it all that much. But they're still there. I have all the parts for this thing. To take this apart was really easy. There's tutorials on the Custom Saber shop. And if you ask questions, they're all really helpful. I actually started a thread, and a bunch of people answered questions for me, and they really walked me through it. And the community there is great. The kit is fairly inexpensive for both the actual kit and you have to get the light and the lens and a bunch of other stuff, and it's all really inexpensive, and it's all really easy to navigate and find on the website. So I just wanted to say that real quick. I'm going to turn it on and show you how bright it is. First, I'll turn it on with the blade plug. So you can see how bright that is. If I just shine it right in the camera, it's really bright. You can also hear the soundboard. It's the stock soundboard that it had in it when I first got it. I'm just going to keep it that way. Something that happened when I was converting it, let me turn it off. Something that did happen when I was converting it is, and this is entirely my fault, has nothing to do with the tutorial, has nothing to do with the kit or anything, is that I fried the clash sensor. But in my last video that I did of this, God knows how long ago, I mentioned that I didn't actually like the clash sound. It didn't sound good. It was the same one over and over again. The sensor wasn't that great as it was. So I'm sort of lukewarm about frying the clash sensor. It's like I'm not mad about it. I'm not really upset about it. I'm a little disappointed, but it's nothing that I miss all that much. So let me show you like comparisons of the blades. I'll put the stock blade in this first. So that's the blade plug. This is actually from Ultra Sabers. I should actually order a blade plug from Custom Saber Shop at some point, and I will. But this is the stock blade that it came in. I have to say that this thing's pretty beat up too. There's all kinds of scuff marks and stuff on it. There actually is a big crack in the bottom that you might not be able to see. Actually, if I shine it... Oh yeah, you can see it. There it is. So yeah, there's a crack in there. So I usually only use this as like a show blade because I do actually like the way it looks, the light looks, and it's not as bright in this, which when you're like walking around all day and you turn this on, you don't want to like turn on a big bright light in your face all the time. So actually I kind of like this as a show blade, and also I think the white just kind of looks kind of neat off as it is, whereas with the Ultra Saber blade, which is down here, is, I don't know, I kind of like the way this looks plain over the Ultra Saber a little bit. So let's turn it on and I can show you how bright it is, even with the stock blade. So you can see it's still really bright with the stock blade in it. One issue, I guess you could call it, with it is it's kind of hard to see on camera, but you can kind of see that about here the light does diminish a little bit, and then that diminishment continues on up until you get to like the top here, where it brightens a little bit because the plastic's a little bit thicker here, so it blocks a little more of the light from escaping. Actually, a good way that I can show you that is if I put my hand here at the source, you can see how bright it is. And then as I continue along, right about there, it loses some light, so that's about halfway. And then it continues to lose that light until you get to about there, and it gets a little bit brighter up at the top. So, and that's essentially what it looks like when you're looking at it in broad daylight. But it's still really bright. And actually, it's midday. I think it's past noon. It's like 12:30 or something. Actually, it's 12:52, and this thing is still really bright. It's my blinds are closed, but you can see the sunlight coming through my window in the video. So this thing is still really bright on a sunlit room. Let me turn it off. Oh, actually, there's one more thing I want to do. I want to compare the brightness of this. You can see how bright this is compared to a stock Kylo Ren. Same color, same LED color, but you can see how much brighter the Vader is than this. Actually, if I swap them over to be a little more fair to the Kylo, because I don't want the sunlight shining right on the Kylo, you can still see how much brighter this is than this. And actually, a good indication of that is if I bring them a little closer to the camera, and I put my finger, well, let's use my thumb. The light, the redness sort of stops here, right at the tip of my thumb. With the Kylo, it basically stops where the blade is. What I mean by that is when you look at like how bright it is, you can see the red color like right where my thumb is on both sabers. So that's a good indication of how much brighter this is. I'd say that this is probably, especially at the base here, like 3 or 4 times brighter than this. And it's the same color, same type of blade. So that's really telling with the brightness of the custom saber shop. It's definitely a lot brighter. It's definitely a lot nicer of a light. One thing that I do miss that you just saw on the Kylo is the extension and retraction, which I knew that I would miss. But something that I like about it is that it does still have the effect where when it turns on, it turns on and then it gets a tiny bit brighter when it turns on. So you still have that effect of it like turning on, and then when it turns off, the opposite happens. So it kind of dims as it turns off. So I don't know how well that showed up on camera, but in real life you can see it. So I do still have the effect of it turning on and off, so I don't miss the extension or retraction as much, although it is still a feature that I do miss a little bit. I do want to show it to you in the Ultra Saber blade. The brightness is a little bit better in the Ultra Saber. The evenness of the light and the color, though, are what are really important in the Ultra Saber. Because I'll do the same thing, and you can see how even it is along the entire blade. It's sort of that same brightness. It is a little bit brighter to the base, but that's always going to happen because light sources are always brighter at the source. But you can see how much more even it is throughout the entire blade. I'm not going to really get into the specifics of that. Basically, this just uses different materials that distribute the light a little bit better, and it has a mirrored tip. But there's a bunch of other videos and pictures and blogs about why that is an effect. So I'm not really going to get into it here. But suffice to say that this is definitely a brighter blade, and it's also a stronger blade. I would not advise dueling with one of these, which is why there's a crack in the bottom of this one. But, you know, it is definitely... I mean, if you're going to do some light tapping with this, it's not going to be too bad, but I wouldn't do some, like, full on, you know, just whacking each other with that blade. Other than that, I mean, this is pretty much the review. My next one is going to be on my... That was my phone. My next one is going to be on my... I'll probably do it on my Luke, A New Hope saber. I actually called it an Anakin saber in my previous review. I don't know why I said that. Probably because I have an Anakin Ultimate FX, which is kind of like the compromise between one of these and a toy. All of my other FX reviews are actually going to be on Hasbro sabers. This is my only Master Replica, other than a Sidious half-scale replica that I have, or 0.45 scale, or whatever it is. This is the only full-size Light and Sound Master Replica that I have. So I think I'm going to leave it here. I really enjoyed doing this review. Hopefully the next one will be in a week. I plan on shooting that in the next couple of days, maybe doing some editing. As you notice, I haven't really been doing a lot of editing on these. I'm probably not going to edit this at all, because I've actually been really sort of working on these and like reshooting them, and I have like scripts and stuff, so I'm trying to sort of do them all in one take, just because I feel like with a review, it's better not to break it up, even if I make a mistake. So if you see a few little mistakes that I make, you know, it's done sort of intentionally. You know, not the mistake itself, but leaving it in there is done sort of intentionally. And hopefully in another week, in another 2 weeks, but I mean, hey, 2 weeks is still better than my previous track record of not posting for a month or more. I'll have another review of this. Well, not of this, but of my my Luke saber from episode 4. May the Force be with you. Have a nice day.